Hello. The birth of a child always drastically changes the lives of parents. This family, however, will have to face difficulties they simply can't tell their neighbors, friends, or even the doctor about. But as is often the case, the heroes will not be able to keep this secret for long. Katie, a young mother, comes to the French police station and tells them that she hasn't been able to find her lover for a week. She says they worked in the same factory and that no one can find the man there either. There's no way to contact him, and her only suspicion is that her common-law husband has gone to his home country, as he is Spanish. However, the woman doesn't turn to the police in order to find her lover. She says that she's left alone with 2 children and can't manage it at all. Katie asks if she can give her youngest son to the guardianship system for a while until she gets back on her feet. The baby cries a lot and takes up a lot of energy. The police officer is surprised and tries to dissuade the woman.
Ça implique beaucoup de complications.
We go back in time for a few months. A little girl, Lisa, wakes up her mother, and while she's struggling to get up, makes her own breakfast. They eat, and Katie takes her daughter to school on her motorbike. Then she goes to work at the cosmetics factory. Every day at work is like another, but suddenly a new employee catches Katie's eye. She looks at the man during lunch and then goes for a smoke as usual. There, they bump into each other, and Katie learns that the stranger's name is Paco. The couple immediately like each other. Without thinking long, Paco and Katie get intimate in the bathroom stall. The next day, Paco is waiting for Katie near the factory after his shift ends. The woman says that what happened between them was a misunderstanding.
J'ai pas l'habitude.
Moi non plus.
In the evening, Katie sends her daughter to bed and supposedly goes to a restaurant with friends. In fact, she has a rendezvous with Paco. Over dinner, she tells her new lover about Lisa and learns that he has no children, only a brief marriage in his youth. The lovers have a great evening, which continues at Katie's house. Little Lisa wakes up and hears something going on behind the wall, but does not dare leave the room. The next morning, the girl comes out to the kitchen and sees her mother with an unfamiliar man having a sweet breakfast in their home clothes. Lisa is frightened and runs off to her room. Katie follows her and explains that Paco will probably be living with them soon, so she'll have to get used to him. Now Lisa takes the bus to school, and Paco occupies the second place on the bike. A few months later, Paco is summoned by the factory director and told that Katie is in the hospital. She gave birth to a boy, and Lisa chooses the name Ricky. Now the girl's life changes even more. Her stepfather remodels her room as a nursery, and all attention goes to the baby. And no matter how hard Paco tries to establish a rapport with the girl, she still can't accept him.
Tiens, va manger le poulet que papa préparait.
Papa passe Paco.
After a while, Lisa sees Paco on the street with a woman. Her stepfather, meanwhile, comes home late increasingly more often. On one of these occasions, Katie can't stand it anymore and causes a scandal. She says that the baby cries all the time. She doesn't have enough time to do everything, and then complains that Paco doesn't help her at all. He's rude to his lover, but still agrees to work the night shifts and takes care of his son during the day. Before going to bed, they reconcile and dream that soon everything will be as it was before. The next day, Katie goes to the factory and Paco lies on the couch with a bottle of beer, but his tranquility is short-lived. Ricky starts crying again. His father goes into the kitchen to prepare formula for the baby, feeds him, and then changes his diaper. A few hours later, Katie and Lisa come home and see Paco asleep with the baby in his arms.
Ça s'est bien passé?
Oui, je crois.
While the stepfather's trying to help Lisa with her lessons, Katie's changing her son's clothes and notices something very strange. She calls Paco and shows him the bruise on the child's back. The woman demands that her lover confess what happened. She seems convinced that he dropped his son. Paco gets angry and denies all of her accusations. He's disgusted that Katie would even think about this. It's morning, and Katie still can't sleep. Her daughter comes into the kitchen and asks if Ricky is going to die. Her mother scolds her for asking such silly questions and runs to comfort her son, who starts crying again. She removes the baby's clothes and sees that Ricky has a second bruise on his back. Soon, Paco returns from the night shift, and Katie asks him to have a serious conversation with her.
Il a 2 hématomes dans le dos. Qu'est-ce que tu lui as fait?
Paco asks, does Katie really think that he beat their son? The woman replies that this is exactly what she thinks. Then Paco gets up, puts on his jacket, throws his keys on the floor, and leaves the house. Now, Lisa often has to babysit her brother. One day, she's distracted by a doll while her mother's not home and does not keep track of Ricky. When Katie comes home and asks her daughter to bring her brother into the living room, she sees that the baby's not in the crib. But strangest of all, his sheets are stained with blood. Before she knows what's happening, Katie hears the baby crying. She and her daughter look under the crib, but realize that the sound is coming from above. Finally, they look up and realize that Ricky has mysteriously climbed onto the closet. Mother and daughter begin to lure him out and drop him face first through negligence. When suddenly they see.
Mais qu'est-ce que c'est que ça?
At first, the strange outgrowths on Ricky's shoulder blades frighten Katie and Lisa, but not for long it seems. They bathe the boy, cover his crib with a sheet, and go out to dinner. The mother tells her daughter that she will not take her son to the doctor and forbids Lisa to talk about her brother at school. Before going to bed, Katie wants to call Paco, but she changes her mind. After about a week, Ricky's wings have grown as much as 8 centimeters long. Now he sleeps better and cries less. The boy is even beginning to hover over the couch, but not with much confidence yet. His wings are becoming bigger and longer every single day. And soon, thick feathers grow on them. One day, Lisa comes out of school and sees Paco. He tries to find out how her mother and Ricky are doing. The girl instead runs to the bus and avoids questions. Meanwhile, Katie buys a science book on bird wings and a lightweight helmet to make a costume for Ricky. At home, she and her daughter put the outfit on the child and let him fly, but it doesn't end well. Soon, Katie discovers that they've won 2,000 euros in the lottery they participated in for years. In joy, she takes her daughter and son and goes shopping for gifts at the supermarket. There, they leave Ricky unattended in the cart for a while, and when they return, they realize that the boy has disappeared. He's torn off his outer clothes and is already flying under the ceiling, attracting everyone's attention. Katie and Lisa beg Ricky to come back, but he doesn't even pay attention to their voices. All visitors are kicked out of the supermarket, and security begin to hunt for the child. The boy's mother guesses that he's attracted to bright lights and asks the administration to turn off the lights. The trick works. Katie and Lisa find themselves in a hospital. A local doctor who admires Ricky's unbelievable peculiarity invites them to his office. The doctor says that the child should be thoroughly examined and kept under observation for a while. Katie opposes the proposition vehemently. She doesn't want her son to be turned into a lab rat. The doctor keeps insisting that a special child of this kind needs special conditions that Katie must not have at home, to which Katie is even more indignant. She takes her son home and finds a crowd of journalists waiting outside the hospital. In the end, she takes the doctor's card and barely makes it home. The next morning, Katie's watching a report on TV about Ricky and the incident at the supermarket. All day long, she has groups of journalists patrolling her yard, eager to get an exclusive commentary or film the freak child. A restless night passes, and early in the morning, the doorbell rings.
Bonjour, Lisa.
Bonjour.
Katie sends her daughter into the room to look after Ricky. Paco tells her that he saw the story on television and asks Katie why she didn't tell him the truth about his son. The woman apologizes to him and they hug. Paco says he wants to see his son. He tells her that he went to Paris to work part-time at a friend's restaurant. And all his time there, he dreamed of only one thing: being in this house again. Paco goes to the children's room and sees his son flying around. This thrills him, but Katie notices that the child is frightened. He crashes into objects and behaves differently than usual. They catch him and try to calm him down. Paco notices that the child is suffering and should not live in such dangerous conditions.
Il faut le sortir d'ici, il faut le faire soigner.
C'est mon fils, c'est moi qui décide.
Lisa notices blood on Ricky's pillow. They call the doctor. He treats the wound and says that this room is not the right environment for a child of this kind. He also explains that Ricky's wings grow out of his shoulder blades. This means in the long run, they could be cut off. Such surgery would be similar to the separation of Siamese twins. After an intervention of this kind, the child would, of course, need a lot of care and attention. In the evening, Lisa tries to cut off her brother's wings with scissors, but is frightened away by her stepfather. After looking at his son, Paco goes to the kitchen to see his beloved. He says that it will take a lot of money to take care of Ricky, and suggests that Katie make a deal with the journalists. The woman is skeptical of this idea. She asks if that's why Paco came back. Is it to make money on her son? The man asks her for her trust and reminds Katie why he left her before.
Écoute, Cathy, je suis parti, c'est parce que tu m'as déjà accusé de taper mon fils.
After a while, the family walks out of the house to a crowd of reporters waiting for them. The reporters are thrilled to finally be able to photograph the amazing child from all angles. And in the air, too. The young parents let their son fly, holding him on a special rope. But suddenly, a crowd of journalists, parents and sister, run after the child to the lake. But when Ricky disappears over the horizon, it's clear that he's not coming back. The reporters begin to disperse. Katie weeps bitterly. This is how they spend several hours. While people are looking for Ricky around the lake, his parents and sister do not leave the place where they last saw him. However, the search doesn't lead to anything. For the next few days, Paco and Lisa put up missing child notices all over town, while Katie lies at home, refusing to go to work. One early Sunday morning, Katie gets up and opens the curtains. Paco wakes up to the sunlight and asks what she's doing. The woman says she's going for a walk by the lake. Paco tries to reason with her.
Je crois qu'il y a peu de chance qu'il ait survécu.
Despite her lover's entreaties, Katie leaves the house and goes to the ill-fated lake nonetheless. She takes off her shoes and enters the water, seemingly determined to say goodbye to life. But suddenly the woman hears a familiar voice, looks up, and sees her son. Katie follows Ricky to the shore and is surprised at how he's grown. She admits that she let go of the rope on purpose, but not because she wanted to get rid of him.
Mais tu étais tellement beau quand tu volais. Tu étais tellement beau.
Ricky smiles at his mother's words, but soon soars into the sky and flies away from her again. Happy, she returns home, hugs Paco and Lisa, and tells them that she loves them dearly. Several months pass. They continue to live together. Now Lisa is taken to school by her stepfather, and her mother stays at home. Katie's expecting a baby again, and seems to have completely let go of the past. Any fantasy lover will tell you that you shouldn't understand films of this genre literally. There's a metaphor behind every story. What do you think the French director François Ozon wanted to say about this story about the bird boy? Share your theories in the comments. Also, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel if you like cool movie narratives.